Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my Marvel Wonder Man video for the upcoming Disney Plus series. They just made a couple big MCU crossover announcements about the cast, so I'll explain where it fits into the MCU just in general, because it's going to take place inside the MCU version of Hollywood in the Los Angeles area, just like where She-Hulk takes place. It takes place in Los Angeles. A lot of West Coast Avengers happening during Marvel Phase 4. If you're brand new to the channel, I'm actually in the middle of doing episode videos for She-Hulk. Be sure to subscribe to get them all. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up too. We have Marvel Disney Plus Day coming up really soon. They're going to be releasing a whole bunch of trailers for the upcoming Disney Plus series, along with Star Wars trailers too. Like, we'll probably get a Mandalorian Season 3 trailer video. Of course, I will do videos for all those videos that they release. But the real big announcement you probably saw in your feeds recently is that Wonder Man is going to feature Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery from the Shang-Chi movie in Iron Man 3 and the one-shot All Hail the King, which is kind of like an Iron Man 3 one-shot.
No, sorry. I still don't get it.
He's supposed to be a main character during the series, the same way that there's a lot of Wong going on in the She-Hulk episodes. Like this week on She-Hulk, Wong will show up, and he's got a couple things that he's doing on the show, in addition to the Abomination plot. Here's the big connection to Wonder Man, like why he would actually be on the Wonder Man series. Because Trevor's backstory is that he's actually just a failed actor from back in the day and was hired by Aldrich Killian to play the fake version of the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. And then during the one-shot All Hail the King, Wenwu's men from the Ten Rings came to capture him with the intention of killing him. And as he explained when we got to the events of the Shang-Chi movie, he broke into a scene when they were getting ready to kill him. It was just so ridiculous that all of Wenwu's men just started to laugh at him, so they spared his life and just kept him around henceforth as the court jester, so to speak, putting on performances for them.
It's not real, Pet. It's just acting. That's when I knew. If they can teach those monkeys to act that brilliantly, just imagine what I could bring to the world.
While he was at Wenwu's compound, he befriended Morris, the captured creature taken from Ta Lo that they used to help them get back into the Ta Lo dimension. After the events of that movie, if it wasn't clear, when they went back to the main 616 MCU dimension, because it was in an alternate dimension, later in the timeline, like after a little while has gone by, during the events of the Wonder Man series, presumably they let him go free and he's gone back to Hollywood to try and get work on a new show, and just happens to be working around the Wonder Man character on one of these productions. The other big connection to the Shang-Chi movie is that the Wonder Man series is going to be done by the director of the Shang-Chi movie, Daniel Cretton. The reason why they would want Trevor specifically is just because of the kind of show that Wonder Man is going to be. They're playing the series as if he is a Hollywood actor making these types of fake movies inside the MCU version of Hollywood, just like Wonder Man's backstory in the comics. In the comics, when he wasn't fighting with the Avengers, he was pretending to be a normal Hollywood actor making parody movies based on their adventures as the Avengers. He's such a huge deep cut from the comics, and a lot of the storyline that involves him, like a lot of the connections that he has to the other Avengers characters like Vision, Scarlet Witch, has already happened in the plot so far. But the whole thing with the Nathan Fillion Wonder Man deleted scenes is that he played a version of the character in deleted scenes from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's right, James Gunn was going to introduce the character in the MCU, saying that Simon Williams was a movie star in the MCU using these movie posters from films he'd done in the past. This deleted scene was meant to take place in the present-day Missouri scenes when they're showing Ego's plan coming to fruition, and he uses all the extra celestial energy from Star-Lord to activate his seeds all over the universe. And you see things start to go crazy with the seeds back in present-day Missouri near the Dairy Queen where he originally planted it. While this was going on, there was meant to be a Simon Williams film festival happening nearby. James Gunn is from this town in real life. His real-life parents actually cameoed in this scene. All the movies that he starred in here, the posters, are meant to be big Easter eggs for the comics too. The biggest Easter egg is that he played Iron Man in a Tony Stark biopic. The Archon movie poster is more of a Conan reference visually, but Archon is actually a real Marvel character from the old school Avengers comics. Now, he's a very Conan-inspired type of character, but Conan himself is actually a different Marvel character. Within the Marvel Comics canon, Archon also inspired this series of Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's meant to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger Easter egg movies based on the Conan series, which the comic book version of Simon Williams' Wonder Man also starred in. The way they portray Wonder Man in the comics is that his normal alter ego type of character, like when he's just walking around normally as Simon Williams, is that he's a Hollywood star, like he's an actual actor. So the James Gunn Archon movie poster is like an Easter egg within an Easter egg within an Easter egg for the Wonder Man character. Dead Before Arrival is a movie inspired by Christopher Nolan's Inception. Hack-Sack 2 is a sequel to the fictional remake of the Hack-Sack movie by Rob Zombie that appeared in the movie Super, directed by James Gunn. The Toxic Janitor movie poster, obviously a reference to The Toxic Avenger, directed by James Gunn's mentor and frequent collaborator Lloyd Kaufman. James Gunn worked for Lloyd Kaufman at Troma Films when he first came to Hollywood. That was like his first big Hollywood job. And Lloyd Kaufman also cameos in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. The Oh Rebecca movie poster, I think, is just meant to be a parody of similar romantic comedies from the early and mid-2000s, maybe also an Easter egg about the big love triangle that Wonder Man had with Scarlet Witch and Vision. During the WandaVision series, there were a couple references to Wonder Man completely separate from what was happening with these deleted Guardians of the Galaxy 2 scenes. It was mostly through the White Vision storyline, but also in the opening credits too. During the opening credits, when the camera is panning through all the different rooms and the floors of the house, you see a helmet. The helmet is from the Grim Reaper in the comics, who was Wonder Man's brother who attacked the Avengers after thinking that they were responsible for the death of his brother. But the big twist is that part of Wonder Man's thing is that he always comes back after he seemingly dies, and this time he just happened to be in a coma. Later, you see that Sword and Tyler Hayward have tried to recreate Vision, resuscitate him using his body parts from Avengers Infinity War. In the comics, originally the Avengers had to do the same thing. They tried to use the brain patterns from Wonder Man again to create the same effect that Vision got from the Soul Stone in the MCU, along with the Jarvis and the Ultron AI programming. Originally in the comics, when Ultron created Vision, he stole Wonder Man's brain patterns that had been backed up by Hank Pym when they were still trying to save Wonder Man's life, and just used the brainwaves to create Vision's personality matrix. They kept bringing Wonder Man back to life periodically. One time, Kang the Conqueror brought him back to life as part of an evil team he created to fight the Avengers called the Legion of the Unliving. After a few more villains bring him back to life, I think he died like 6 times in the comics, but each time he was brought back by a different type of villain that tried to use him to fight the Avengers. Eventually, he takes control of his own mind, then joins the Avengers, then moves to Hollywood, becomes this big star, and helps found the West Coast Avengers. So that's where all the movies that he stars in come from. We keep making jokes about all the West Coast Avengers Easter eggs in the Disney Plus series and the movies during Marvel Phase 4. This is like the next really big one, introducing his character legit. He did have a love triangle with Scarlet Witch after she'd already been married to Vision. They tried to say that Wonder Man had feelings for her first because they thought that Vision only loved Scarlet Witch, leading to their marriage because his brainwaves were literally copied from Wonder Man's, like his love of Scarlet Witch came from Wonder Man's love of Scarlet Witch. Very melodramatic, a lot of these classic Marvel comics. And this gets back to the whole thing with Tyler Hayward and Sword trying to recreate Vision. They tried to do this a couple times in the comics, like Vision would be destroyed and the Avengers would try to recreate him. When they're trying to recreate his body, Scarlet Witch goes back to Wonder Man to ask to provide his brainwaves once again so that they can do the same thing and create the same personality matrix for Vision. Basically, his powers are kind of like Captain America's powers, except he's more powerful like Thor or the Hulk. So he's way stronger, way more durable than Captain America, and unlike Captain America, he has a couple extra powers on top of that too. His real name is Simon Williams, but he got his powers from Baron Zemo, who also gave him the Wonder Man name, after he found out his company had been rendered near bankrupt by Iron Man's company Stark Industries, so thinking that he hated Iron Man, Baron Zemo wanted to use him against Iron Man. All the power that he imbued him with was through an experiment involving ionic energy, so you say Wonder Man's powers are all based on ionic energy. Speaking of which, they actually just confirmed that Baron Zemo is coming back again during the Thunderbolts movie that Marvel just announced. They'll pay off those Val Madam Hydra cameo scenes during Falcon and Winter Soldier, the Black Widow movie. We'll also probably see her in the She-Hulk series recruiting Abomination next. Wonder Man is also supposed to be stronger than Captain Marvel most of the time when she's not gone full binary. He's been able to fight the Hulk to a stalemate in his normal Hulk form. He can soak blasts of the power cosmic from the Silver Surfer. He's effectively immortal, like he can come back to life each time he dies, and when he comes back in the comics, each time he seems like he becomes more powerful. He can also fly, and he can give off his ionic energy from his eyes in the form of beams and from his hands. He also shows up a lot in the X-Men comics too. He gets involved a lot with Rogue, so maybe they'll cross him over with a lot of what's going on in the Avengers movies when they start doing X-Men stuff too. Also, he's kind of like the Hollywood Avenger. Like the She-Hulk series, for instance, takes place in Los Angeles. He's probably going to be another Los Angeles-based Avengers character. And remember, initially when he debuted in the comics, he debuted as a villain. But it was one of those situations where the villains were trying to twist his mind against the Avengers and mislead him. So fundamentally, he is a good character. Like I said, what'll probably happen with his character in the MCU is that they'll balance his powers a little so that he's not too OP. Like, he probably won't do everything that he does in the comics. But just like they changed a lot of Miss Marvel's origin story, even though there are Easter eggs for the comic book version of her origin story, it'll probably be the same situation with Wonder Man. A lot of the changes that they make are meant to fit them better with what they've already done in the MCU so far. They haven't announced an actor yet. It probably won't be Nathan Fillion, though. The James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy 2 scenes will probably just stay deleted scenes. Technically, those aren't meant to be canon, so like they can change stuff if they have Easter eggs for related things. Everyone post all your reactions to Trevor being a big part of that Wonder Man series. In my next big video will be my She-Hulk Episode 3 video. Wong showing up during that one, like I said. Links for all my She-Hulk episode videos down in the description. Everyone click here for my full House of the Dragon Episode 3 trailer video, and click here for my House of the Dragon Episode 2 video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.